everyone! Today I'm going to be talking about travel hacking for Canadians. And as a Canadian, the reason I wanted to make this video is because so far in my training journey, I haven't found a lot of useful tips and tricks for beginners. The videos that I've found are mostly tailored for Americans that have access to American credit cards and banks. And additionally, a lot of the videos I found were quite complicated and kind of for people that already know a little bit about the lingo and the acronyms. And mostly, a lot of them don't actually talk about how to get started. There's a lot of things that people should understand before they start churning, as there's lots of due diligence involved. But it's very easy to do as well as a beginner. And today I'm here to talk about what things you should know about churning. I just came back from a trip and was able to get business class seats for myself and my husband, and let me tell you, I've never felt more amazing getting off a plane. I was flying from Istanbul to my home in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The flight involved two legs. The first leg was from Istanbul to Frankfurt, which is a 3-hour flight on Turkish Airlines business class, and the second leg was from Frankfurt to Calgary, which is a 9.5-hour flight on Air Canada business class. Each seat was 70,000 Aeroplan points, plus an additional $141 in taxes and fees, which means we were able to fly all the way from Istanbul to Calgary with only $141 each. I want to show you how you can also do this. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a few things. First thing is, what are your goals and how much time you're able to put into churning? The next thing is, what kind of organization do you need to have laid out for your churning to succeed? I'll also talk about the types of cards that are available for Canadians and some recommendation of cards. And finally, resources that are out there that can help you. Goals. This is really important to talk about before getting into churning because there are so many things involved. So we definitely want to focus our efforts where it matters the most. Maybe you are dead set on that business class flight and that is the only thing on your mind, or perhaps you just want to get some free travel credit and free hotel. But it's really important to think about what you're going to focus on. Which leads me to the next point, which is time. How much time are you able and willing to put into this? As a beginner, it's actually really easy to get overwhelmed, so I recommend that people take it as easy as possible. So on easy mode, usually you're looking at 1 to 2 credit cards at a time. You're probably looking at your spreadsheet or your tracker a couple times a year. And every time you look at the tracker, you're probably spending around 30 minutes each time. And that time is dedicated to maybe calling the credit card to cancel your card or applying for new cards. Once you have a little bit of more experience in juggling multiple cards, you can amp it up a little bit. Now on medium mode, you're probably looking at 2 to 5 cards. And with more cards, you have to look at your tracker on more frequency. So it might be something like once every quarter. And just like before, you're probably spending about 30 minutes every time keeping on top of your tracker. I know this video is for beginners, but once you get the hang of it and you feel like you're comfortable in your medium zone, then you might want to ramp it up to hard mode. And what that might look like is you are juggling 5+ cards. You might have like 10 different credit cards in your wallet. You might be working with different reward systems, which involves converting points from system A to system B. You might be applying for business credit cards, or you might even be applying for US credit cards as a Canadian. But in this video, we're not going to talk about these, and I am definitely not there yet, even myself. And I guess the point of the video is to prove that I was able to get my business class flight without being on hard mode. Therefore, you should be able to do that too. The business class flight that I took was 70,000 points per person. And in Canada, it's really common to find credit cards with welcome bonuses of 20,000 points. So you only really need 3 to 4 cards to be able to do this. The next thing I'm going to talk about is organization or admin. And the reason that this is so important is because churning requires a lot of due diligence. A lot of the cards you're going to apply for will have a first year annual fee that becomes waived. But what you got to keep in mind is you have to cancel the card before the second year annual fee is due. Otherwise, what you're going to get from churning will be reduced by the annual fee costs. Another thing that you're going to want to be aware of are minimum spend requirements. This is useful because you can actually churn to match what you think you're going to spend money on. So if you're going to buy a big appliance or something that you can put on a credit card, then you can apply for those higher minimum spend requirement credit cards for the time that you're going to buy those expensive purchases. And one last thing that you have to track to make sure that your churning is successful is you have to track the reapplication of credit cards. Most credit cards in Canada allow you to reapply with the same welcome bonuses every 2 years. So you should track when you applied, canceled, so that you can reapply for the credit card as soon as you can. And by the way, all of this is in addition to paying your credit cards every month. And you should always do it in full. If you can't do that, don't churn. The way that I track my churning is with a spreadsheet. I put in all the dates that I mentioned as before, as well as the minimum spend requirements, but this is definitely not the only way to do it. You could totally use phone reminders or whatever you think might work for you. Now I'm going to talk about the types of cards that are out there, and you should definitely aim to apply for cards that align with the goals that you set for yourself. For the purpose of this video, I'm only going to make 2 categories of cards. Cards that will give you business class flights, and cards that are specifically for free travel and hotel. There's usually a combination of both, but for the purpose of this video, again, I'm just going to keep these 2 as separate groups. Because we're in Canada, the easiest way for us to get business class flights is through the Aeroplan reward systems. Certainly there are other reward systems out there, but I found that Aeroplan makes the most sense and it's most user-friendly for beginners. The cards that I would recommend here are the suite of TD Aeroplan cards, as well as the suite of CIBC Aeroplan cards. As for free travel and hotel cards, my personal favorites would be the RBC WestJet card, the MBNA Best Western card, as well as the American Express Marriott card. But that one has a caveat because you can only get the welcome points once, but it has a ton of other benefits associated with the card, which makes this a forever card for me that I'll never cancel. The last thing I'm going to talk about are resources. Where can you go for help? My personal favorite resource is the subreddit r/churning Canada. On there, they have a compilation of cards that the subreddit recommends, and it actually lists them out in a really nice way that you can pick exactly what works for you. And in addition to the list of recommended cards, there are posts where people can ask specific questions that relate to them, and most likely, if you have a question, someone else has already posted it and there's already an answer out there. My second favorite resource is Red Flag Deals, although it is more so to find the deals than to ask questions. So sometimes I go on there just to see what good card deals are out there. And lastly, I'll use YouTube kind of as a highlight. There are a lot of YouTubers that go through the cards in detail too, so it's just kind of a nice way to sit back and have the info come at you rather than digging through threads and all that kind of stuff. And that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a big old like, and if you have any comments for what you want to see in the future, please drop it down in the comments below, and good luck in your churning journeys. Bye!